Welcome to this week's edition of the Don't Argue All. Thanks to Palmerbet, of course. Download that app, get involved, and this big man, he's a legend. He's an icon of the game. It's great to catch up with him as always. Kirk Gidley, how are you, Gids?
Matty, yeah, outstanding, mate. How are you? Mate, coming from live from Singleton Greyhounds local team up, mate, this
Secret
way out in the Hunter
dogs.
Valley. So, yeah,
I love it, mate. The old Singo dogs, big fella, doesn't
Sing our
get much better
dogs.
than that, Gids. Hey, listen,
That's right.
your Knights, mate, have got a little weekend off this weekend, a little bye, which I think's coming a
Mm,
nice little time for a mate. So just recoup.
yeah,
It's been a tough season, hasn't it, for the Newcastle boys?
yeah, no, it certainly has, Matty. Yeah, last week, I mean, they made a pretty decent first half against
First
the
half was good.
leader. Yeah, taking on the top of the table, the Canberra Raiders at home, 18 all at half time, but yeah, second half just capitulated, unfortunately for the Knights. And yeah, need the week off, pick up the bye. But the semis might be a long shot now for the Knights, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's a bit disappointing, isn't it? That is for sure. But they always do charge home late. That is for sure. What about a drama-packed game last week? The Eels and the Broncos, mate. It went down to the wire. There was plenty going on, mate. A little call late in the game against Reece Walsh, and Parramatta got the job done. And once again, the Broncos kids, they just let you down from time to time, don't they?
Yeah, they do, buddy. I thought the Eels played sharp too, mate. I watched that game and
Did.
I thought the Eels looked dangerous, looked energetic. But yeah, mate, the Broncos a game that they'll probably expected to win, that's for sure. And couldn't get the job done, but they're up against a pretty sharp team in the Eels, mate. I thought they deserved the win.
Mate, you touched on it last week, but just that return of Mitch Moses, he's just a star, isn't he? And he makes such a difference to that Parramatta side.
Oh, for sure, mate. He's a great ball player. He's quick for a halfback, good kicking game, and then obviously, his influence, his morale, his aura on his teammates. That has a big difference when you look around the changing rooms and you're looking for your leader and your star halfback, and he's there. That has a direct influence on the players around him. So, um, yeah, good sharp win by him.
Hey, mate, what about the Dogs and Manly? Fair dinkum. Manly roll the Melbourne Storm the week before, mate. And then they just don't
Yeah,
show up. There was an absolute drubbing. What was it, 42-4 in the end?
42-4. Yep.
Bulldogs back into a little bit of form too because they were just petering just a little bit. But for Manly, it's just disappointing. And they do lose Olakatau now with another
Yeah.
shoulder injury, which is massive news for them too because he is a big boy. But fair dinkum, they are just a Jekyll and Hyde side, the old Manly Seagulls, aren't they?
Yeah, pretty dejected. I reckon the old Eagles fans after, certainly beating the Storm there the week before, which was a huge win, and then to, heavily underperform this week, a real touch up from the Dogs, and probably something the doggies needed, mate, at that stage. They were, you know, um, just weren't as consistent as what they were playing early on the season, but that's a nice convincing win to build the confidence again.
Yeah, I think that's a key for the Bulldogs, just to get that bit of belief back into that side because they've been under scrutiny from the media and even opposition teams over the last kind of 6 to 8 weeks. So I think just get the wins on the board and get back to winning games of footy. That is the key to them. Hey, Sharks just grinded a win, didn't they, against the Rabbits, mate? It wasn't anything special. I watched a fair bit of this game, and even late in the contest, the Rabbits kind of had a couple of opportunities, didn't they, Gids?
Yeah, they still had them under a fair bit of pressure at the back end of the game. Um, yeah, again, not a convincing one for the Sharkies because the Rabbits, mate, they were a stack of injuries, like a stack of injuries. So they were no pressure on the Bunnies coming into that game as far as expectations and how they perform. So I think they're lucky to get away that with the Sharkies.
Yeah, mate, it's just going to be interesting. Winning games in this next couple of weeks is going to be so important for all these teams because there's still top four spots up for grabs, kids, and there's final spots up for
There
grabs.
is.
So it's going to be a very, very interesting little back half of the year. Mate, I got you by one in the tips last week too, mate. 5 out of 8
Ooh,
versus 4 out of 8. So I'm coming late in this season, which is good
you
because
are.
it's not easy. Not
Well, mate, the Raiders, they've kicked clear by 4 points, and to be 4 points clear of second, that's a
amazing.
pretty incredible effort considering a team. A lot of the commentators who were calling the shots before the ball had been kicked early in the year were talking about them coming potentially last or certainly at the bottom of the table. So to be 4 points clear with that win against the Knights on the weekend, it's a pretty incredible effort, and that may just build even more confidence and belief within their camp internally.
Nah, they're a very decent side. They just got good, really strong defence, I reckon, for my kids, and that's where
Yeah,
everything
I do.
starts. Bulldogs similar, got good, strong defences. I suppose if you look at the best teams over the last kind of 10 to 15 years, Storm,
Um,
Panthers, they've all had good defence, haven't they?
100%, mate. Those two top teams in the grand final on grand final day, normally the two most consistent teams defensively over the full length of the year.
Hey, Gids, to what are we at? 2 out of 4 in your Gids get on. So Tupu and
Mm,
Meany both scored tries. Missed out on Watson, missed out on Coates. He doesn't normally let you down,
yes.
save your Coates. But I love the try scorers, and I say this all the time, but I really get to sit back. It's great just to sit back over a few different games. And if you can tick a couple of legs off early, it gives you even a little bit more impetus, doesn't it?
Certainly does, Matty. Yeah, nice little muzzy. I like the try scorer ones. Anytime try scorers too, and I've got one up my sleeve tonight.
Oh, I like it. I like it. So do the Palmerbet followers, mate. The must have last week. I took them all 13 plus. Cowboys let me down. Sharks let me down. They were both tight games in the end. Panthers didn't let me down. They are flying. And the Raiders are flying as well, unfortunately, for your Newcastle Knights. Hey, kids, let's turn our attention to this Thursday night. It is all happening. And it's the Parramatta Eels taking on the Melbourne Storm, who have been going along all right, but they're not setting the world on fire. Thursday night, 7:50, Combank Stadium, head-to-head, the Eels 360. Storm are at $1.29. The line is 10.5 points. Total points over under is 47.5 points. Now, last time, kids, these two sides met, it was in round one of this season, and it was a big win by the Storm, 56 to
It would have been.
18, way back at the start of the year. They were good last week, the Eels. Mitch Moses makes a massive difference. We've said that. Storm are just going at the moment for mine, kids. Is there a little upset on the cards here, or are you sticking fat with Melbourne?
The cards, I don't think this week. Your man Pappenhausen back,
Back.
and also Cam Munster back after his dad's funeral, unfortunately, there last week. But they are missing Jerome Hughes, mate, with a pretty nasty shoulder dislocation there by the looks of it last week. So he'll be out for a number of weeks. There's no doubt about that. It just depends whether he'll get back for the semi-finals. Yeah, well, that's what Olakau'atu, he came back, dislocated his shoulder there a number of weeks ago against the Titans, came back, re-injured it, dislocated it again, gone for the year. So they're tough injuries to play with when you sublux your shoulder and you try and come back because they're not real stable after that. But I'm going for Storm, mate, this one. I think they'll win convincingly.
I'm sticking with the Storm. I don't think it'll be that convincing. I reckon it'll be tight enough, Gids, because as you said, Parramatta were good last week, so I reckon it'll be a bit
Moses, big
closer.
different.
He's huge. He is huge, mate. But Storm will get the 2 points. I was going to say the 4 points, 2 points. Hey, next game. Warriors take on the Dolphins. Friday night footy, 6 p.m. Go Media Stadium, head-to-head. Warriors, $1.72. The Dolphins at $2.12. Line here, it's tight, kids. 2.5 points. Total points
Mm,
over under is 46.5 points. Last time these two teams met, round 11 this year, and it was a 4-point victory to the Warriors. That was at Suncorp Stadium. It was tight last year too, round 23. The Dolphins won by 2. I don't know, but I reckon this is
yeah,
skewed, and I reckon the Dolphins are a bet here, kids.
yeah, I
$2.12.
think
I'm
so.
happy to be taking them against the Warriors, mate.
Yeah, no, this is a real flip of the coin for me, Matty. Waz got embarrassingly dusted by the
Titans.
Titans there last week. It was Desi's 500th game, I think, for coaching, but still, pretty poor loss considering at home and against the team that had been struggling big time, the Titans. So, yeah, tough one to pick. I am going to go for the Waz to bounce back though, mate, because they are again they've been one of the more consistent teams this year, and I think they can bounce back for this one. But I reckon it'll be a tight one.
At home, they're a lot better side, I reckon, the Wars. But geez, they were disappointing against the Titans last week for mine, kids. And I don't know. I just reckon the Dolphins have done nothing wrong. They are scoring machines, and I love it. I love the way they play. If you got a second team, I reckon there's a lot of people that have got the Dolphins as their second team. in season
Thing is, mate,
2025.
Dolphins have to keep winning to stay in the eight. They're currently on
Spot on.
24, and the Eagles are on 24, and the Roosters are nipping at their heels as well. So, big game for them.
Massive game, and I'm happy to be back in the Dolphins. You're getting $2.12 just head to head. That is a play for me. Hey, Broncos take on the Rabbitohs Friday night footy, 8 p.m. Suncorp Stadium, head to head. Bronx coming off the back of that loss last week at $1.19. Rabbitohs were solid, 465. The line here is 15.5 points. Total points over under is 49.5 points. Last time, or last two times these teams have met, it's been convincing victories by the Rabbits. 22-14 and 22-12 kids.
Yeah,
So the
right.
Rabbits seem to have the Broncos measure. And I'm all over the Bronx to bounce back here at home. But I'll tell you what, that line of 15.5 points, if you're a Rabbits fan, that is a play, I reckon, for
And
mine.
juicy, very, very juicy that is. Yeah, it's a hard one to pick the Broncos about at the moment. I think they'll bounce back this week. The Broncos, funny enough, the Bunnies are currently sitting in last position. The Titans have actually jumped them, still on the same points, but for and against. Titans are off the bottom, and the Bunnies are last at the moment. So big game for both clubs. Broncos have obviously got to keep winning, mate, to maintain their position in the top eight. I think I'll get a win with this one for sure and bounce back from that loss last week.
Broncos to win, but yeah, as I said, I reckon that line 15.5 points. If you're a Rabbitoh supporter, just off the back
Mm,
of they seem to
very
play well
attractive.
and rise for the occasion when they're playing the Broncos, that would be a play. Hey, Titans take on the Panthers Saturday, the 2nd of August, 3 p.m. Seabus Super Stadium head to head. Titans at Palmer bets $4.30. The Panthers at $1.22. Line here is 12.5 points. Total points over under is 46.5 points. The Panthers are absolutely charging. Last time these two teams met was round 27 last year, 6 point victory over or to the Panthers over the Titans. And then in 2023, it was a big victory, 40-14 Panthers way. Panthers are flying at the moment for my Gids. They are the form
Mm.
side of the competition, and they are eyeing off a top four finish, aren't they?
Yeah, mate, they're flying, Matty, at the moment. That's for sure. The Penny Panthers, and they've just tapped into, mate, what they've been doing successfully over the last few years and executing their role well, defending well is also been a big part of their success over the last few years, and they're certainly nailing that at the moment. I think they'll continue the unbeaten run, mate. I think are they up to seven or so, 7 or 8 games or
I
something
was going
now?
to say, I think it's 8 on the bounce, Gids.
Eight on the bounce. So I just think, mate, their structure, their discipline, they'll stick to what they need to do to get this win done week in, week out. I don't think, a team like the Titans have demonstrated that consistently enough through this year.
Yeah, I'm with you,
Panthers
Gids.
convincingly.
I do. I reckon 13 plus Panthers because they are just real steely at the moment. And yeah, they are going to be very hard. And because the Tides are just up and down like a yo yo, I reckon they're going to have a down week this week. And I reckon the Panthers are going to get the job done. Hey, Dragons Raiders, Saturday, 5:30 at Wynn Stadium in Wollongong. Head to head, Dragons, $2.72. Raiders at $1.46 at Palmerbet. The line here, 6.5 points. Total points over under is 46.5. Now, interesting, Gids, these last two times these two sides have met, round 18, so only about 4 weeks ago, it was a 4 point victory to the Raiders over the Dragons. And last year in round 27, Gids, it was a 2 point victory to the Raiders over the Dragons. So they've had some tight contests, these two sides. Do we expect the same
Mm.
again this Saturday night?
Yes. Oh, no, 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 no. Mate, the,
You're,
the Raiders are just mate, their defense is gritty. They work hard for each other. Forward pack's
yep.
tough. Offloads are a real challenge for opposition players and teams to try and reduce and get hold of them, lock up the ball. And I just again the Dragons. I think they're gone. I
Yeah.
think they're gone.
If you had that red pen, mate, you'd be putting the line well and
I've
truly
only
through
got the
the.
blue. Actually, let me just look into my bag of tricks here.
You haven't got it with you, surely.
Let me just dust this off.
You have not got it with you. Oh, that goes everywhere,
There
mate.
she
You are
is.
a freak. You are an
Yes,
absolute
it
freak
is.
show, kids. That is unreal.
We'll
Mate,
have to break it, the red pen too. It wouldn't be far off it, mate. It would
oh,
not be
mate,
far off it that when we're putting
the,
the red pen through a few.
Well, there's probably 4 or 5 teams. I reckon you could probably already nearly put a red line through. So that might be something you're talking
Next
about
week,
for
it's
next
coming
week.
out.
I reckon for sure, mate. I'm with you. Raiders, they'll get the job done, mate. They got top spot on the line. They are not going to drop any of these games that they should be winning, and they will want to be finishing on top of that ladder. That is for sure, and they'll get the job done easy against the Dragons. Hey, Manly taking on the Roosters Saturday, 7:35 at 4 Points Park, head to head. Manly $1.65. The Roosters at 224 line here. It's tight 3.5. Total points over under is 48.5. I must admit, kids, I don't know, but I look at that $2.24 of the Roosters, and I reckon that's a bit of a luxury because Manly are just up and down. They are all over the shop.
Mm.
And last 2 times these two teams have met, both wins to the Roosters, one by 24 points and the other by 4 points. So fair income. If you're a Rooster supporter, that is juicy odds.
And I'll be backing them at that odds too, Matty.
I'm
Yeah,
on.
disappointing
Yep.
one from the Eagles there last week. Poor discipline, poor defence. Not on the same page, mate. I'm on the Roosters here for an upset. I think the Roosters, although they've had their moments throughout the year, I just think for a younger team, lot of the names who we weren't familiar with before the season have really lifted and delivered for the Roosters this year. So I'm going to back them in this one as an upset.
Yeah, I reckon the Palmer boys have actually stuffed the odds up. To be honest, I think they're just thinking that home ground advantage at 4 Points Park is going to be big. But I don't know. I just don't reckon Manly's going that good at the moment. So yep, Roosters at a nice little $2.24 head to head is certainly a nice little play. Hey, West Tigers take on the Canterbury Bulldogs Sunday 2 p.m. at Combank Stadium. You're tipping there's going to be a big crowd here at this one. Head to head, West Tigers $3.70, Bulldogs at $1.28. The line Gids is 10.5 points. Total points over under is 44.5 points. Last 2 times these two sides met was round 9 2024, so been a long time between drinks. 22-14 victory in the way of the Bulldogs. And the time before that was way back in 2023. So they haven't played each other a lot, to be honest. It was a 4 point victory that
Mm.
day to the Bulldogs. Now, interesting, Gids, the Bulldogs have only won 2 out of their last 5. And sorry, 3 out of their last 5, I should say. The West Tigers have won 2 out of their last 5. Um, how do you see this? To be honest, you expect the Bulldogs to come and take the 2 points, don't you?
Well, you expect, but there's no guarantees in that. That's for sure. I've noticed Jacob Carraz is back at fullback. Connor Tracy must be out there for a reason. Matt Burton, Lockie Galvin still working on that halves combination. That's only sort of been kicked off over the last few weeks. But yeah, the Dogs have been look. They've been one of the more professional and consistent teams defensively throughout the year. That's for sure. And I think another big crowd out there. Battle of the West, really, both these clubs, and again, the the Tigers may just haven't shown enough this year for myself to shape up against the Doggies and try and threaten them in this one. So I think Doggies, mate, pretty convincing one.
I do too. Tracy's a big out. So I think Tracy might be. They're talking that he might not even get back for finals, Gids, with an
Right.
abdominal injury or something. So
Uh,
he would be a
well,
huge loss because he's been a pretty important player.
Well, Matty, he's a huge loss because of his effort and speed, but mate, defensively, I
Yeah,
think I think that's one of his biggest assets is working really hard defensively to cover up any little short half breaks or line breaks and puts his body on the line for a small guy. He
yeah.
works extremely hard on both sides of the footy, with the ball, without the ball, and then defensively barking orders, pushing blokes around. So that's a really important specific role as a fullback, counting your numbers and pushing your players around defensively. So he'll be lost, that's for sure.
No, give me a massive loss, but Bulldogs to get the job done
Doggies.
against the Tigers. Yeah, I'm with you, kids. Hey, Sharks Cowboys final game Sunday 4:05 at Sharks Stadium. Head to head, Sharks $1.39, Cowboys at $3. Line here is 8.5. Total points over or under is 48.5. Sharks have won their last 2 contests pretty convincingly, to be honest, against the Cowboys. Cowboys' best mate is good. Are they a luxury against the side in the Sharks that are going okay, but they're not setting the world on fire? $3 might be a little play here, kids, or even the line at 8.5 points if you're a Cowboys fan.
Yeah, no, it's certainly attractive, Matty, that's for sure. Yeah, again, these are the types of games where they can pull something out of their backside, I think, the Cowboys, and could be a real smoky for an upset of the round. So I don't know. I've got the Sharks down. they've had a pretty consistent last few weeks. Um, Again, there's not a lot of people talking about the Sharkies around, premiership favourites, and that's been pretty consistent over the last few years. Really, does does anyone, whether it's commentary teams or footy pundits, do they genuinely think the Sharkies can win the comp? There's not a lot of talk about that. Whether that's fair or unfair, I'm not sure, but they're up there. They're a top four team. They have been over the last few years, but they can be a bit vulnerable in these type of games. And for $3 or over $3 outside as the Cowboys, that would be one that you could have as a quite an upset for the round. But I'm going to stick with the favourites, Sharkies at home.
Do you know what, kids? I had Sharks written down, but the more I think about it, fair dinkum, I'm
Mm,
actually I'm leaning towards the Cowboys here, to be honest. So I'm changing that selection. I reckon they are really good value, and
Changing it up.
I'm going the Sharks, mate. Hey, listen, give us your pick eight, big fella.
Mate, pick eight, kick off with the Storm, the Warriors, Broncos, Penrith, then Raiders, Roosters, Doggies, Sharkies to wrap it up. About $21.60.
I like it, mate. I like it, kids. $21.60 on the Palmer app. It's really easy to just get on, and you can have a bit of a play around with whatever you want. I've changed up, so I've gone Storm, uh, Dolphins, and I can't for some reason I can't put that Broncos price in, kids, on the app. I think they're obviously just working on something feverishly behind the scenes. Roosters at a little bit of value. Cowboys, I just said then, I reckon is a ridiculous price. Gives the pick eight for me. I reckon I'm going to be sitting at around about $38 on the Palmer bet app, and
Mm,
obviously the Cowboys and Roosters are the two sides that are putting the
yeah,
value into it for mine.
yeah, no,
And
for sure. The Cowboys, Roosters are outsiders, and the Cows, yeah, that'll bump it up a bit. That's for sure.
Mate, I'm super keen on the Roosters, and I'm going to make it part of my Matty's must-have. Roosters to win head-to-head. I'm happy with that price. And Teddy, anytime try scorer, that will do me, big fella. $16.70 on the Palmer Bet app. So happy to play around that. Teddy's an absolute star of the game, and
He is
Roosters just to
legend.
win. So that's the way I'm
Yeah,
going. What about the kids? Get on,
mate,
buddy.
the Gids get on, mate. I'm going to go with the three speedsters, mate, in three anytime try scorers, three different games. I haven't punched into the Calmbet app. I'm just waiting for some odds to come out. But I'm going to go, your man, Pappenhausen. He's back. He's likely to score, surely, back from a calf injury. The Hammer, another one of your favourites.
Mate, he's
I
a
think
legend, the
I think
Hammer.
he's leading the try scorers
15 he's on.
try scoring list, 15, and Reece Walsh. I'm going to go through
Oh.
potentially the three fastest in the game to score a try each.
No, I love it, kids. And three of my faves to whack
Yeah,
in those anytime try scorers, mate. Yeah, you're right. The Palmer bet kids get on multi will be right down here. Who's your lock
yeah,
for the
there.
week, kids?
Oh, my lock for the week, Penny Panthers. I think they're on a great streak at the moment. They're just starting to just pop up, mate, put a bit of pressure on some of the other teams, and there'll be a few looking over their shoulders leading into the semi-finals. And if they keep this winning streak going, it'll be a quite incredible lead in the semis, that's for sure.
Yeah, I agree, mate. I reckon they are absolutely smoking at the moment, and yeah, they're going to put the wind up a hell of a lot of these teams. They'll be all nervous, that is for sure. I'm going
Funny,
Bulldogs. They
eh?
were good last week, and I reckon they're the lock for the week for mine. Both short for the Panthers and the Bulldogs, but doesn't matter if you got your punters club with your mates. Have
That's
a bit of
it.
fun and get involved. Download that Palmer Bet app, as we said, and always think, is that the bet you really want to have, kids? But it is a good app, and it's an easy app to navigate through. That is for sure. Gids, I know you got to get to the Singleton Dogs tonight, big fella, for a bit of a night out, mate. A little
No,
bit.
no, the Singleton Greyhounds, that's the footy team. That's the local footy team.
Oh, right, right.
Yeah, not the dog track.
It's like the old it's like the old Ted Lasso, mate. The Greyhounds, the old soccer side. I love it.
Yeah, no, I'm off to the local trivia, mate, tonight. I'll probably take the red pen
Good,
down. I'll be sitting at be
good on
saddled
you.
up at the Imperial for local trivia, mate. And
You're a legend.
I'm out to a couple of mine sites tomorrow. So happy days, happy weekend, happy punning, everyone. All the best.
Good Good on you, mate. Great to see you, and we will catch up next week. It's going to be a fantastic round 22 of the NRL. As we say, download that Palmer bet and have a bit of fun, and let us know what you think on the YouTube app or also on social. See you next week, kids.
See you, Matty. Have a good one.
Think, is this a bet you really want to place? For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website.